Hello and welcome to Growth Masters, a nationwide community of owners of small to mid-sized government contracting businesses and their executive teams, and the professionals who support them. The purpose of Growth Masters is to share experiences and discuss timely topics on planning and executing the most effective growth strategies in the complex, highly regulated, but opportunity-rich federal marketplace. Today's topic is protecting and leveraging intellectual property to grow your federal contracting business. My name is Shirley Collier. I am a serial entrepreneur, speaker, author, and business growth consultant specializing in federal business development. I am joined by my colleague, Mike Mercurio, an attorney with the Mid-Atlantic law firm of Offutt Kerman. Mike is a principal in the firm and a leader in the firm's corporate and M&A practices.
Hello, Shirley.
We are broadcasting from the greater Washington, D.C. area and welcome our viewers from around the country. Today's topic regarding protecting and leveraging intellectual property to grow your federal contracting business will be examined from two perspectives, legal and business development. Mike will represent the legal perspective and I will represent the strategic business development perspective. Because we have people attending this as both a live webinar and it is being recorded for availability on demand, we ask that you send your questions in by email. Please send them to questions@scale2market.com. That's scale number 2market.com. Viewers will also have access to the slides and a link to the recording afterwards. And you're going to be receiving an email after this webinar asking you for your feedback. Please take a few minutes to reply and tell us what you think so we can serve you better. We hope to have a few minutes at the end to address your questions. Again, please email them to questions@scale2market.com. So let's get started. Mike, let's first talk about why companies should protect their IP.
Well, protecting your IP is crucial for developing and maintaining a successful business. Almost every business has at least one trademark. When a company builds strong goodwill with consumers, its identifying trademark can be extremely valuable. These brands act as shorthand for quality. Know-how, confidential information, patents, and trade secrets can be extremely valuable, mainly because they give it a leg up on its competition. Also, every business with employees is at risk of trade secret theft.
You know, my federal decision makers often tell me that proposals they receive, especially from small businesses, are bland and they use a lot of industry jargon. They just don't stand out. They don't emphasize why the agency should do business with them. Having something as simple as a branded business practice can distinguish them from the competition. And by business practice, I mean something like your approach to quality, in addition to industry certifications for quality, your hiring and retention practices, and task order, program, or project management methods that are unique and proven. So, Mike, in addition to trade secrets and patents, how else can companies protect these important processes?
Well, depending on the business, copyrights can be an extremely valuable asset and tool. For example, software companies, creative companies involved in marketing and advertising all can benefit by registering copyrights for their key works. In today's world, e-commerce is a vital part of sales and advertising strategies for many companies. Establishing and protecting a distinctive internet presence can be extremely valuable also. Any intellectual property advantage can be affected by social media. To protect their intellectual property and avoid legal problems, companies should include social media policies in their employee handbooks and in their agreements. Some issues at stake include inadvertent disclosure of confidential information in social media, infringement on trademarks by third parties via social media, as well as infringing posts of creative works, which affect copyrights, and inappropriate employee comments or product reviews.
Mike, before we get too far in our discussion, perhaps we should clarify what we mean by intellectual property and what businesses can do to proactively protect their IP.
Sure. Well, first you have patents, and patents are used to protect inventive ideas or processes, things that are new, useful, and non-obvious. There is a process. Typically, innovation teams work to arrive at a solution to a problem. They will then draw up plans, prototypes, and drawings. It's followed by a patent application. If the invention is deemed meritorious enough for the pursuit of patent protection, some organizations prepare their own provisional or non-provisional patent applications. Others will farm the stage out. There may be more tweaks as an application is prepared and then submitted to the appropriate patent office, and the prosecution stage then begins, which is the back and forth with the government patent office. Typically, it is outside counsel that manages this process and related docketing activities, which includes the management of paperwork and meeting filing deadlines specified by the government patent office. There's also a maintenance aspect. Once a patent is approved, it has a finite lifetime. Patent holders are responsible for maintaining and tracking the usage of their patents and paying the appropriate periodic government renewal fees.
Now, not all companies have intellectual property, but it seems like they all do have a trademark of some type. How do trademarks differ from patents?
Well, a trademark is unlike a patent in that it protects words, phrases, symbols, sounds, smells, and color schemes. Trademarks are often considered assets that describe or otherwise identify the source of underlying products or services that a company provides, such as the MGM Lion Roar or the Home Depot orange color scheme, the Intel Inside logo, and so on. Trademarks do not necessarily require government approval to be in effect. They can apply through abundant usage in interstate commerce. Still, registration of a trademark affords far superior protection and is gained by filing an application with the proper government office. A trademark application requires the company or the user to provide a clear description and representation of the mark and its uses in conjunction with associated products or services.
Thanks for that clarification. What about copyrights? How are they different from patents and trademarks?
Now, copyrights do not protect ideas, but rather the manner in which ideas are expressed. Original works of authorship, such as written works, art, music, architectural drawings, or even programming code for software. With certain exceptions, copyrights allow the owner of the protected materials to control reproduction, performance, new versioning or adaptations, public performance, and distribution of the works.
So, how do I go about asserting a copyright?
Like all of our intellectual property tools, there is a procedure. Copyrights in general attach when the original works become fixed in a tangible medium, but should be registered with the government Copyright Office for optimal protection in the form of damages, injunctions, and confiscation. Copyright registration applications are much simpler than patents or trademarks and typically can be obtained by the author alone. The U.S. Copyright Office encourages use of their online application system and requires a sample of the work to be protected and some background information about the author.
Well, this is very helpful, Mike. I understand that there is yet another category of intellectual property called trade secrets. So how are trade secrets protected?
Right, there is this category. Now, trade secrets are proprietary procedures, systems, devices, formulas, strategies, or other information that is confidential and exclusive to the company using them. They act as competitive advantages for the business. Trade secrets also have a procedure. So while there isn't a federally regulated registration process for trade secrets, instead the onus is on the company in possession of the secret to take the necessary precautions to maintain it as such. This is an ongoing proactive process and can include clearly marking relevant documents as confidential, implementing physical and data security measures, keeping logs of visitors, and restricting access. The issuance of non-disclosure agreements or other documented assurances of secrecy can also be employed. One of the first defenses typically put up when you assert that someone misappropriated your trade secret is that you failed to adequately treat it as a trade secret. So surely, once businesses have taken these steps to protect their IP, how do they leverage it to grow?
That's very important, of course. One of the main objectives of developing and protecting IP is to monetize it. There are several ways companies can leverage their trademarks, brands, and patents in the federal marketplace. The first is a capability statement. Having a significant differentiator can grab the attention of contracting officers, program managers, and other federal decision makers and influencers. I often get the question about introducing proprietary software to a federal agency given the government's movement towards open source. Let me clarify how this plays out. Federal agencies have been criticized for buying proprietary software for mission-critical functions and then their perception being held hostage by those vendors. As a consequence, over the last decade, the government has adopted open source code and practices for custom software development, and that will continue. However, the government is also looking for pre-packaged, quote-unquote, hosted applications, sometimes on the cloud, for cost effectiveness. These apps range from cyber solutions to project management to help desk software. Generally, if the government has a need that is similar to those of commercial entities, they are seeking the best of breed and most cost-effective commercial solutions to fill their needs. This is where you can leverage your unique IP for competitive advantage. We strongly encourage our clients to market consistently year-round to their targeted agencies, decision makers, and influencers. Many small businesses downplay the importance of marketing to federal decision makers. They assume there's a level playing field and that their proposal is the only source of information that the government evaluates. Or they assume that federal employees are not on social media. So nothing could be further from the truth. Federal buyers have a responsibility to spend the public's money wisely. They are risk averse and are constantly looking for detailed, accurate, provable information on vendors. Websites, newsletters, press releases, social media posts, white papers, blog, public speaking opportunities should all tout your differentiators. And if those differentiators are patents or other types of intellectual property, all the better. The last place to articulate the value proposition of your company, including your intellectual property, is in your proposals. I review a lot of proposals and talk to many decision makers across the federal government. There's definitely a disconnect. Federal buyers want to know how you're going to solve the problem that has been described in their RFP. Many small businesses tout their skills, their credentials, and their past performance, but they don't go into enough detail on the step-by-step how. The how is many times the small business's secret sauce, and they're reluctant to share it. But you have to share at least some of your secret sauce in order to win. There is standard language to add to a proposal to ensure that the proprietary information contained in the proposal is protected. If you are not already doing so, every footer should contain something close to the following verbiage. This proposal includes proprietary data that should not be disclosed outside the name of the agency that you're sending the proposal to, and should not be duplicated, used, or disclosed in whole or in part for any purpose other than to evaluate this response. So let's end with a summary. It is important to understand the 4 types of intellectual property and how to protect that property. You can gain a significant competitive edge in the marketplace if you do have intellectual property. And lastly, hire professionals to help you protect and leverage your differentiators. So this ends the formal part of our presentation. We would like to take a few questions from our audience. Okay, let's see. The first question we have here is, how can I protect the name of my business?
I'll take that one. You would protect the name of your business typically through a trademark. Now, depending how novel your name is will depend on how much protection we can get. If your name is not very novel, like a Yahoo, for example, we may not be able to protect the words, but we may be able to protect through trademark the design, your logo, your color scheme, or even your tagline.
Mike, this next question is for you as well. How much does it cost to obtain a patent?
Well, as you heard from the presentation earlier, a patent involves a number of steps. And typically, a patent is not an inexpensive proposition. You're typically going to look at $10,000 to $15,000 of costs to file a patent.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, the next question is, if you're developing software for the federal government that builds upon your own IP, how do you protect what you own? Well, this gets kind of complicated, but the 2018 NDAA, which is National Defense Acquisition Act, implements several changes that affect the Department of Defense and how it acquires software. I think it's Section 871 that imposes new requirements on negotiations for what they call non-commercial software. And it is, we think it's going to be resulting in more expansive software delivery requirements, including that you have to deliver your source code to the federal government. But because these requirements will be limited to non-commercial computer software, you can mitigate your risk by establishing that your software is commercial, or by incorporating commercial software modules into your systems. That's all negotiated up front when you get a contract, of course, and you must declare up front which part of your software is commercial. Okay, well, it's time to wrap up. Mike, thank you for your incredible insights today.
Well, thank you, Shirley. It's been my pleasure, and thank you, Shirley, for your advice on how to leverage IP to grow revenues.
And thank you to all of you who have tuned in from around the country. Sign up to our mailing list at no cost for more complimentary, valuable information about growing your federal contracting business. And don't hesitate to contact Mike or me if you have questions about how to leverage IP to grow your business profitably in the federal marketplace. And look for additional information from us on future events. Have a good day.